Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Clutch Conversations. It's your boy Mike. We back at you one more again, live on a Thursday night in the place to be. What's good, everybody? Appreciate y'all coming out on this turkey and football Thursday, man. Appreciate y'all coming through, kicking it with us. And speaking of appreciation, make sure y'all show some love to my lovely wife, Takara. Thank you for everything you do. Really appreciate you holding us down, man. We've been having a lot of fun this weekend, man. Me and the wifey just been chilling, man. The kids out of town, so we've been just chilling, man. Just hanging out, man. So definitely, man, make sure y'all show us some love in the comments and don't stop there. Show the channel some love as well. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and smash that notification bell so you can get notifications each and every time we drop a video here on the channel. Let's do some housekeeping. Where can you find us? You can find us on Morph Market. Definitely go check us out on Morph Market. If you haven't followed us on Morph Market, definitely follow us on Morph Market, man, so you can stay up to date with everything that we posting and whatnot over there. So definitely go check us out on Morph Market. Make sure you follow us on Instagram as well at Herp Collectors and at Herp Collectors Network. So definitely go give us a follow if you're not already following us. When you see us sharing stuff out, be sure to share it out, man. Really appreciate the support. Don't hesitate to tag us and stuff too, man. You tag us and stuff, we're gonna share it out. So definitely, man, we can all support each other. So definitely check us out on IG. Check us out on Facebook as well. Not gonna hold you, man. Facebook is really just what we post on not Morph Market, my bad. What we posted on Instagram that we port over to Facebook, but definitely go check us out on Facebook as well. You can share the posts on Facebook as well. So definitely tap in with us on Facebook. And of course, make sure you check us out on your favorite audio podcasting platforms. We're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your audio only podcast, you can find Clutch Conversations. And definitely check us out at clutchconversations.com as well. I say it every week, man, but the website is popping. So definitely go check us out, man. Give us a follow, sign up for the newsletter, all that good stuff. If you're involved in this reptile hobby in any shape, form, or fashion, make sure you're supporting both USARK and USARK Florida. Both these organizations help protect our rights as keepers, and it's strength in numbers, people. It's strength in numbers. So definitely, if you don't have a membership, go grab your membership. It's memberships at multiple levels that fit multiple budgets. So definitely go check it out, man. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, man. Drop a dono, do what you got to do. But definitely support USARK and USARK Florida. The link for both organizations is in the description of the video. Coming up next week, we got Chondro Corner, episode 9. It's going to be hosted by the sis Jen Kate from Cigar City Exotics. We got Lucas from Lab Exotics in the building this Monday, so definitely tap in. If you don't know, Lucas started working a lot with retics and stuff like that. Now he's transitioning over to chondros, so you can definitely hear his story this coming Monday. Lucas is a Clutch Conversations, can't talk tonight. Clutch Conversations alum too, man. We had him on the show a while back, so definitely make sure you go back and dig in the archives and check that one out as well. But this coming Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, check out Lab Exotics with the sis Jen Kate from Cigar City Exotics on Chondro Corner, Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we got episode 11 of Double Clutch. Me and the homie Matt. We actually got 2 guests and then a surprise guest at the end, so make sure you stick around for that as well. We got Summer from KINOVA. She's going to be in the building. And we also got Dr. Lori Tarini. She's going to be in the building. We're going to do a deep dive, and we're going to talk about reptile behavior. So you definitely want to check that out. Summer's also going to give some updates on the KINOVA Pet Success program and kind of like Dr. Tarini's role in that program as well, and kind of how she helped develop a lot of stuff that went along with that program. So it's going to be an interesting episode. I know a lot of y'all got some questions and things like that, so make sure you tune in, tap in, so you can get the answers to your questions. Make sure you also join the Double Clutch Patreon. 4 tiers of the Patreon, man. We got something at a level for everybody. And at each level of the Patreon, you definitely going to get some value. So definitely tap in, man. Loving jumping on the Discord chats, the Zoom meetings, making the posts and stuff like that. So definitely tap in with us on the Double Clutch Patreon if you're not already joined. Big shout out to everybody who has already joined the Double Clutch Patreon. And we got 2 new shows coming up for you here in the next few weeks. We got The Moat, which is going to be a spider-themed podcast hosted by Jess of House of Laspood. Definitely looking forward to that, man. This is going to be a real fun one. Stay tuned for more updates on that. And then we also got Morph Map. We got Brian and Tommy tag teaming this. This is going to be a super dope one. Definitely looking forward to it, man. They're going to be breaking down genetics, having people coming on, helping them to break down genetics, man. Just really kind of mapping out these genes for you, man. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So definitely make sure you stop by and tap into that. Both of these will be coming up in the next few weeks. Hey, we're going to kick some sponsor video, pay some bills, and then we'll be right back. If you're looking for a Patreon that teaches you about the business of ball python breeding and you want to learn from an industry leader with a proven track record, then this is the Patreon for you. Ready to take your game to the next level? Join the KINOVA Patreon. You'll get deep dives into the latest genetics, breeding strategies, and market trends. Save time and money by leveraging the information provided in this Patreon. Memberships are currently available up to the student tier. Don't delay. Join the KINOVA Patreon today.
Art comes in many forms. At Armless Angels, it comes to life.
In life, success doesn't come to you. You go to it. In this game, forward thinking is the key to innovation and staying relevant. Plan your work and work your plan. Lose yourself in the art. Lose yourself with wetter morphs. Big shout out to the sponsors. Big shout out to the sponsors. Let me cut this off. Big shout out to the sponsors, man. Really appreciate y'all. Appreciate the support. Let's see who we got in the comments tonight. We got Will's Hella Heat in the building. So he says, I know my pod never got off the ground, but it was a reason I was going to feature Mike on episode 1. Look how much he's upgraded and how much more professional he has become over the years. Great podcast, man. Salute to you, bro. I really appreciate the support, kind words, and the love, man. Definitely appreciate you recognizing what we're doing and how we're trying to elevate, step up the game, man. Definitely just trying to get better day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year. So definitely, man, again, super appreciate that, man. Shauna Connor, the sultaness of support in the building. What's good? Appreciate you coming out. Big time supporter. You see her everywhere. 352 in the building. What's good, homie? Double Clutch Patreon member. Appreciate you, bruh. Aaron, what's good? Battle Balls in the building. Appreciate you coming out. We got the Sultan of support in the building. What's good, Bosa? Appreciate you coming out. We got Ro in the building, one half of the Chondro Corner dynamic duo. Also, Double Clutch Patreon member. Appreciate you. We got the guest double dipping. What's good, Randy? Looking forward to the conversation. We got Patrick in the building. Patrick, a little bit of everything, Saunders. What's good, homie? Appreciate you. Another big time supporter. You see him in every chat. Really appreciate you, bro. We got Jamie. What's good? Professors Pythons in the building. Appreciate you coming out. We got Daniel Berry in the building. Sports highlights. Appreciate you coming out, fam. We got Wifey in the building. Double dipping. Appreciate you. Dun Daughter, what's good? Uptown Exotics in the building. Appreciate you coming out, big homie. See who else we got. Don't want to miss nobody. Think I got everybody. If I miss you, man, my bad. Definitely not trying to. We're going to kick the intro, and then we're going to be right back after the intro. So see you in a second.
Baby, won't you listen to me? I got that flavor. I know you're dying to feed. I ain't no dancer, just got some hip in my feet. Now throw your hands up. Ooh, you bring the lighter, I got the fuse. You make a fire, I'll add the fuel. Follow my lead, just watch your shoes. Gotta turn the heat up. This cool. Who you know who looking like this for real? Who you know who looking like this? Who you know who looking like this for real? Who you know who looking like this? Who you know who looking like this for real? Who you know who looking like this? Who you know who looking like this for real? Who you know who looking like this?
Oh my gosh, my stomach hurts.
Episode 153. What's up? What's up? What's up, bro? How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Pretty good, man. Been enjoying the day, man. Like I said, just been kicking it. Got a lot of work done too. Like quote unquote administrative work as far as like getting like breeding plans and stuff like that organized and kind of going back through it. I've been putting it off for a couple of weeks. But I knew I needed to like revamp some of my breeding plans and kind of take a new look at it because some things change. You know how it goes, stuff move around and whatnot. So definitely got a chance to like update and organize my breeding plans a lot more for this coming season, man.
Yeah, I did that this week too. I took so far the whole week off, and yeah, I went through. I identified a whole bunch of breeders I might just get rid of and cut, and looking to thin it out and refocus. I mean, I don't know about you, but I have to do that at least like every 2 years. Go back and see where I'm at, do a good assessment, and see where I want to be, and cut some of the fat.
Yeah, man. I mean, we only been in it since what 2020, so almost we coming up on 5 years now. But even only having been in it for like that long, like I've done that like a couple of times, just kind of like look at everything, and I feel like each time that I kind of go through that process as far as like thinning the herd, like I keep it more and more real with myself, because like the first time I went through it, I had a plan. It was like certain things I was looking to kind of like move out and certain things I was looking to hold back. But fast forward like a couple of years, some of those things I even chose to hold back. I was like, yeah, that probably don't make sense. And so I'm trying to do a better job at thinking more long term in terms of like where I'm trying to go. Okay, how is this going to get me here? Is this the most efficient way to get me here? Is this the most like ideal way to get me here? And so definitely try to keep it a lot more real with myself when I'm looking at those animals, because I don't know, like I have a hard time letting adult females go. And so when looking at those adult females, man, I can kind of be like, yeah, maybe I need to keep it. But a lot of times I really don't, man. If like thinking about stuff that's like coming up and kind of where I'm headed, what direction I'm headed, thinking about like the time and whatnot that it'll take to work that specific project from that angle is not necessarily always like the best route for my specific circumstances, if that makes sense.
No, it totally does. And, you know, first off, I mean, for 5 years being into it, dude, you've got your whole freaking Herp Collectors network on point, dude. I just got to say, you know, even like last time, sitting here just watching you from the start of a show, which is so professional. And, you know, there are tons of shows out there, but you're killing it, man. You're doing a really, really good job. So props to you on that first.
I appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing. I mean, I've got some females here that, I mean, I got them as hatchlings. I paid a good amount for them. 3 and even 4 years later, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I need to cut them. I didn't even get one clutch out of them, but and mine. So everything with me takes a little longer. I power feed nothing. I mean, my biggest snakes, I got 5,000 gram girls, and they get a medium. That's it. I usually feed mine smalls and let them take their time. People don't realize, but I mean, yeah, you'll find an occasional female that everything she eats goes right to bulking her up. But I mean, the reality of it is, everyone says, "Oh, your female will breed in 2 years." So what's that equivalent to? Your like 8 or 9-year-old daughter having a baby? I know in the past, 20 years ago, the talk was if you bred them too fast, they have a small clutch. They just always would have small clutches. I don't know. I'm not in a rush to make anything that I'm not going to look at the snake's health. And that's why some people pass me on projects, but it's all right. I'm okay with it.
Is that true? Like what you just said, as far as like if you breed it early, it'll have a small clutch, and it'll continue to have small clutches. Like I've heard different things from different people.
You know what? It's all on the animal. I mean, I've looked at stuff throughout the years, and there's talk about people saying, "Oh, you have to breed and give them a season off and breed," and the snake's going to do what it's going to do. I mean, they're going to ovulate or not. If you can breed a snake, breed it, but if her body isn't going to go, she's not going to go.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, it's so funny. I talk to people all the time about everything you hear about them is kind of like your average. And you're going to have everything on every different aspect of it. I've had snakes that have eaten a meal and then laid eggs the next day. I've had snakes that I've opened a tub, not even realizing that they were going to lay eggs, with a rat, and they've grabbed the rat while wrapped on eggs. I just looked right now. I had a snake bred in September, like physically locked. I got pictures of the lock, and not even a month and a half later, she laid eggs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, they're going to do what they're going to do regardless. I mean, most of them, you put a male with a female and she's already to the point, she has nothing to do with them. This is just another one of those that she did her own thing. So
yeah, I had a girl that just got out of quarantine not too long ago, because I'm doing a joint pairing with a buddy of mine, and I was doing ultrasounds yesterday, just trying to like really get baselines for a lot of the girls, and hit her with the ultrasound just to see where she was at. Didn't really expect much. She was at 33 millimeters. I was like, wow, like that's crazy. And so like I threw a male in there and she got a lock. So hopefully we'd be able to get some out of that clutch.
Nice. Someday I'm going to figure out how to use my ultrasound. I'm on my third one. I still suck. I mean,
which one do you have?
I got the one from Breeder Circle.
Okay.
With the foot pedal.
Yeah, you got the fancy one.
Well, I had the original one, was the big CRT, and I sucked at that. And so, of course, I figured, okay, it's got to get a laptop. It's not me, it's the machine. Get a laptop, I sucked at that. So I got to get one from Ricardo with the foot pedal, and I still suck. I mean, I did the same fucking thing with cameras. I went out and I bought a nice Sony camera. Horrible pictures. So it had to be the camera. So I went out and got an even more expensive Sony. I still suck at pictures. I realize it's me. I suck.
Yeah, it's definitely more to it than just the camera. I mean, the camera helps, but that's only going to take you so far. Like it's especially like with those higher end cameras and stuff like that, like with the settings and understanding like the concepts, like lighting and the different settings on the camera. It's definitely for me a work in progress. Definitely better than when I started, but nowhere near like the level of like some other folks. Like you look at like Craig from Bash Code or Steven and Courtney from Leviathan and people like that. They like really have it dialed in. At some point I'll be there, but definitely trying to learn for sure. But yeah, the ultrasound, man, the ultrasound has really been a lifesaver for me, and I'm really trying to get it even more dialed in. And so that's a big part of what I was doing yesterday, and then a little bit of it carried over today in terms of like organizing the data. I'm trying to get a little bit more dialed in on my girls and knowing when to expect. So I want to use like a combination of like data that I have like logged, as well as like obviously like the visual data and paying attention to like what they do, paying attention to their behavior and stuff like that, and just really get it more dialed in so I can be like more efficient. And so we'll see how they go as far as like how that pans out for me in terms of like clutch production, catching them at the right time, keeping them building and all that good stuff. This past year, I did miss a few clutches, or I had less clutches than like what I had the capacity to, and less like success ratio with clutches overall. But I do feel like it was a combination of two things. A, we moved the collection this year, and then also B, I think I just missed some girls. And so I'm trying to get a little bit more on my game as far as that go.
Yeah. You know, you also got to remember, I mean, like I said, how all these snakes, their personalities, everything about them, their idiosyncrasies, they're all different. And, you know, everyone talks about everything to do in this hobby with breeding the ball pythons, but you know, there's so much more that goes into it. Just like when bedding, I always love when people talk about, oh, this is the best bedding. It's best bedding for where? For Alaska, for Texas, for Arizona. Like it's all different.
Right.
And your snakes are going to react different too. When you move to different parts of the country, that's going to throw their whole cycle off as well. I mean, things just as simple as I got snakes here that they won't eat for me. So I'll send them up to my partner's house and he'll get them eating. And he's got snakes that he brought to me and said, oh, it only eats mice. And 30 seconds later, I offered it a rat and it ate it. And there's no rhyme or reason. I mean, I used to always say cinnamons hated me because I could not get a cinnamon to eat back in like so that's actually how me and Michael met, was in 2008. I bought a cinnamon from him, and I got it, but it wasn't really thriving. And then he took it and got it huge and gave it back, and it wouldn't eat again. It was just like, yeah, for whatever reason, cinnamons didn't do well here, but they did great for him. So yeah, it's just weird. You can't really put your finger on any one thing as 100% certain. You just have to learn your animals, and you you have to adapt to them. They don't adapt.
Exactly. Big time facts, man. But enough about me. I know we want to talk about like a number of different topics tonight, so I definitely want to dive into that. But just to kind of like set the context in terms of like how much experience you've got in the game, remind everybody how long you've been doing this, and kind of give us like the rundown of kind of your history and stuff like that, just so folks kind of understand like the lens that you view the reptile industry through.
All right, so I got my first ball python in '93 when I got out of the military. I didn't start breeding them until probably right around 2008 when I got into actually breeding them on any kind of level. I bred bearded dragons first. I know my first incubator, I always tell people, was a 10-gallon fish tank, and they used to have those little red octagon bricks, and I had 2 bricks in there. One brick was that was the water level, had a fish tank heater. Second brick was to keep the little deli up off of it, and you put saran wrap on the top. And I mean, we've come a long way since then. I currently, besides ball pythons, I have sand boas, king snakes, milk snakes, corn snakes, tarantulas.
Nice.
What else do I have? I've got crested geckos, Trying to think what else I have right now. Oh, my chameleons. Can't forget those. I love my carpet chameleons. I'm just obsessed with those. I've had retics. I've had cave geckos. I've had red-eye crocodile skinks, leopard geckos, just almost anything. I mean, you name it. I know when my kid was little, I used to go to my buddy's pet store and do borrow a pet. I'd go down, I'd grab, like, I had tortoises for a while. I'd grab pets, I'd keep them here, get them big, and then take them back to him. So, yeah, I've dabbled in quite a bit.
Nice. And so, starting back in the 90s and been in it at various levels since then, I imagine you've seen a lot. Like, you've seen multiple people come and go. You've seen, like, different species hot, and then they're all of a sudden probably not hot so much. So let's talk about some of the stories and some of the things that you've seen kind of over the last, almost 30 years or 30 years plus?
Yeah, well, so one thing with the genetic testing helping out is people selling the fakes. So I know on our last show, I had said it was Morph Kings, and unfortunately now there's a new Morph Kings that had no idea about the past. That was actually Top Shelf Exotics. And
Top Shelf Exotics.
Yeah, they're the ones that had all the fake pieds. They were selling normals. People have them. The females have to grow up to size. 3 years later or so, no one's getting any pieds. And that's when everyone realized that they took all the money and ran. And back then it was pretty simple because you didn't have what you have today as far as the genes. So you get a new recessive, there's no way to tell it's not that. It was just, ducks in a pool at that point. So the Morph Kings, that was Joe Capone and Wes Harris. And so what they did is they kind of targeted the Mojave project from Dana Collette from Snake Keeper, and they purposely crashed the market. And there was a lot of bad blood. That was one of the first things.
Purposely crashed it? How, like, just overproducing and then selling at a real low price?
Yeah. They overproduced, got a bunch, and they cut the market down, flooded them, and like I said, that really hurt Dana Collette. I remember it was probably about 5 years ago. I remember seeing Colette's face because Wes Harris actually drove out from Oklahoma to a super show because I actually bought all his snakes and got him out of the hobby. And so yeah, he's no longer here. But yeah, there was some shady people, some just pretty fucked up people. And then
do you know, like, what their motivation behind doing that was? Was it just to make a quick buck, or did they do it like with some other malicious intent?
I would say it was probably kind of both, but more so the quick buck. And I mean, that was the same thing when the bananas came out. And I remember seeing them for $50,000. I'm not going to say who, but I know there was somebody sitting on about 200 of them, just waiting for them to come down in price. And God, I really wish I was better with names, but I suck at it. I think it was Jordan Russell got death threats, and he had one. He dropped them down to $4,500, and he started getting some death threats. And then
so he got death threats for dropping the price.
Yeah, people upset just because of him dropping the price. They still, I think at that time, they were still trying to get around 10 grand for him. I know the guy who I got my original banana from, I had done business with him in the past, and he actually got a hold of me and said, hey, I'll give you one for this price. And I figured, okay, you know what? That's the price. That's, the time to get in. And so I bought, and then like a week later, he was, so he gave me the price, charged me shipping, charged me 3% for putting it on a credit card. And then a week later, he's advertising one with other genes. It was, I believe it was a cinnamon banana for the same price, or actually even lower, with none of the fees. I mean, that's how fast at that point it was dropping. And I think that was 2013. It's like, yeah, 2013, 2014. And they just, I remember watching them every week just fall.
What was going through your head at the time? Like when you saw the price fall?
I just thought it was time. I looked at how high of a price it was. I knew it was going to fall. It couldn't last. I mean, they were amazing at the time. There was nothing like them. There was one from a couple of years before, the white smoke, which kind of, it was a banana. Never really caught on. I forget what the story was behind that one. I think that might have been from Nerd. And
White smoke? Was that a combo or was that like an actual morph?
No, it was one. If you go look in the VPI book, they actually have a picture of it. It was a form of a banana. But like I said, for whatever reason, I don't know if it was just didn't get enough traction at that point. You got to remember, at this time, you didn't really have social media like you have today.
Right.
There's a lot of genes that slipped through the cracks because of that. Because it was all just word of mouth. You didn't have a lot of pictures. I mean, back then it was fauna or king snake, which if you ever saw king snake, I mean, it was basically just a data page. There wasn't much. You'd have pictures, but no real GUI interface or anything. So pretty primitive. But yeah, I knew it would crash. I knew the guy having the 200, and so I was just waiting. And then, like I said, I figured when I got the call, I was like, yeah, I'll take this. And then it just sucked. A week later, he had a better gene. And I remember calling him and telling him, I was like, dude, that sucks, man. You screwed me over. And he's like, well, I can't predict the market. I'm like, you are the market. You're the only fucking one with them, and you're dropping them $1,000 a week. Like, come on, dude. So, whatever.
Yeah, man, that's the danger. Especially with codons and stuff too. Like once it started getting out, like a whole bunch of people having them, and like the person who kind of like had like the biggest supply, like they probably got like a boatload of them, and so it's just kind of like a ticking time bomb. It's like almost a given that that's gonna happen, like with a particular gene. That's why I be kind of hesitant to jump into like a hot codon when the price is real high. Like Stranger's one that I looked at for a long time, but the price was like super high, and so I just waited. And I got Stranger in the collection now, but I was able to get into it like at a much more palatable price point, to where it made sense. And I'm not just going like straight Stranger or straight Stranger clowns and stuff like that. I'll be working in the multi-recessive projects, and so hopefully I can kind of put it behind that multi-recessive wall a little bit, but definitely hesitant to jump into like a codon when it's hot, right? Because when it's hot is usually like the height of it, and so by the time you start producing, like that price can go boom, 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 depending on when you get into it. So with the banana gene, and what year was it that the whole kind of like male maker versus female maker stuff started coming out? And when did you first hear about it, and what were your initial thoughts on that?
So I want to say it was probably right about 2014 that all that talk, came out. At the time, that was one of the stupidest things I've done in this hobby. Stupidest mistakes was, I had 2014, 2015. I had a pastel lesser desert ghost male, and because I started breeding him and got so deep into desert ghost, but I traded Freedom Breeder for a banana pied male. And then honestly, I ended up I got some banana pieds out of one of my pied girls. I got a pied girl from a friend on loan. Never gave me eggs ever. I wasted like 4 years feeding that thing. And I actually gave a banana pied to them because I was like, hey, take one now so you have it. And I'll just take one extra out of your clutch. And so I lost that one. Never got anything out of theirs. I fed for 4 years. And that was not a very smart move. But in hindsight, I liked the banana pieds at the time. So, and that's what I tell people is no matter what, I mean, you need to get into what makes you happy. Because then in the end, win or lose, whether you make a ton or you break even, you're doing stuff you enjoy.
100%. So what's some other interesting stories from back in the day?
Really quick, talking about the banana, I don't think I've ever had one clutch that follows suit. I've always got mixed clutches, males and females of bananas.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I think I might have had two that followed suit, but most of them I've had bananas, both male and female at every clutch. It's weird.
Like you were getting females from male makers and males from female makers?
Yeah, I didn't have they produce both, so I'm like, they're not really male or female makers, they're just normal. So yeah, but gotcha. I have limited bananas now too, so I mean, people doing bananas on a bigger scale might see more, but no, I've been lucky. I know that the banana pied, I hit 3 male and 2 female banana pieds on my first clutch. So
nice. So what other stories did you have?
I remember there was some, I don't remember the name, but I remember people going over to other countries. There's one guy, God, I really wish I was better with names. Got caught smuggling iguanas in his fake leg.
Say what?
Yeah, he got caught smuggling iguanas. He had a fake leg and he put some iguanas in there and got caught by and ironically his dad, he got his dad into it, and then his dad bought a bunch of what were they? Not scaleless. A micro scale? So there was a shipment that came in with micro scales, and somehow they got lost, stolen, and this guy ended up with them, and then he had some issues, and then I ended up with them for a short period of time trying to help him out. And then they went to a buddy of mine. And then it just full circle turned out that was the guy's dad who got arrested for smuggling the iguanas because they came by my booth at a show. I'm like, oh, all right. Yeah, I read about you.
That's crazy.
Yeah. A while back, I mean, it was kind of, it was a Wild West. I mean, now you still get a lot of people smuggling stuff in and doing some stuff, but same thing with social media and everything now, it's harder to do because someone's gonna say something, you're gonna find out from somewhere. Yes, Jeremy James, thank you.
That's the smuggler guy?
Jeremy James was the one who, yep.
Pretty close to Jesse James.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's wild. I'm gonna have to look that up and get some more details on it. Yeah, so
his name was Lee James. Yeah.
So I'll be interested to hear your perspective on this, given that you've been in it for so long. So obviously you hear a lot of big names in terms of people who've been very influential on the reptile industry. So I kind of want to get your thoughts and pick your brain about who some of those players are and why you think that they are very influential in the industry.
I look at Justin. I've talked to Justin. many times and told him.
Justin who?
Kabilka.
I'm just playing, man.
Yeah, I'm so into the story. I'm like, yeah, I just fell for that. No, I've told him many times. I don't respect him for a single animal he's made. He put 2 snakes together and they fucked. I respect him because he takes the time to go find out things and he shares them with the community, like the mahogany and the stranger. And he found out and he shared it. There's other people that, like we talked about, people that hoard genes and get an army and flood the market. It's nice that he goes out and finds things and explains them to the population. So I respect him a lot for that. I think one of the guys that I really liked was here we go again. I just said his name. Thought about it. Baker from the Baker line specials.
Okay.
So he was down here with me, Southern California, Tom Baker, and the guy was just a freaking living oxymoron. I mean, if you saw this guy, he would pull up in his Prius, bald head. He looked like he was KKK or bikers gang, had beard, the 2 sides with the beads. He's getting out of a freaking Prius. He was a toe-in surfer. His girlfriend was a black musician. There's not one part of this guy's life. You're just like, but he was just freaking cool. And he cleaned pools, and he stumbled on the original special gene. And it really sucked when he passed away. He was a really cool dude. And looking at the time, I would go and buy stuff from people, and some of them would talk shit about you in front of you. I've said before, I remember the first time guys I was giving thousands of dollars, and I told them, yeah, I'm going to post some stuff up on King Snake, and they just looked at me like I was nowhere near worthy of putting on King Snake because, that was for them. And this guy was just so cool. He shared things and would just talk to you just like you're anybody. I got lucky because, like I said, he was a toe-in surfer, and I went up and tuned up his jet skis and that for him, and we became friends. There was a couple people here. God, I'm horrible with names. I don't even. Yeah, don't get me started. How many people, I forget their names.
Yeah, that's crazy. So they was talking shit about you, like in front of you, like after you had spent thousands of dollars with them.
Oh yeah. That's the way people were back then. I mean, without social media, you didn't have keyboard warriors or anything. A lot of these guys, like I said, back then, you didn't have big giant super shows and things like that. I mean, they were there, but they weren't the levels what they are today. Gotcha. So, I mean, back when you had, let's just say 100 genes, certain people that had the money and got in and worked a project, they were the big names. There weren't people going to shows having just one table. They've been doing it for a year or two. That you didn't really see that much. Today it's completely changed. Like I was telling you, I just this week had somebody message me like attacking my family and telling me that breeders laugh at me, that I'm so small, and and so that's a difference from then till now. I personally, I mean, I like the honesty of them talking shit in front of me, because then at least I get to talk back. Today, right. It's not even worth it. I mean, everybody's a keyboard warrior, and you say boo to one person, it spreads like wildfire. I'm fearful for AI because, it's if I told you Joe sold me a snake that had mites, you're going to look at, maybe not you personally, but most people, they're going to be like, oh, okay, this guy's got mites. And then they're going to start spreading this word. And it's going to go around like wildfire. It might not have ever happened. And the ironic thing is, if I got a snake from you that had mites, I'd be like, yo, Mike, just let you know, the snake had mites. Check your collection. I'd fix it. It's like fleas on a dog, but it's society we are today. Everybody wants to break down each other. People can't take the time to be happy with who they are, what they have, and, you know, move forward and hope everyone else moves forward. It's a time where everyone's got to break each other down because they aren't where they want to be.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And it don't even have to be like that. Like, I feel like a lot of people, and not just in reptiles, but we'll stick to the reptiles and whatnot because that's the theme of the show. But like, a lot of people take themselves like entirely too seriously. You know what I mean? Like, we all out here to some extent doing the same thing. Like, animals, number one, like that's what drew us in. And then there's also like a community aspect to it. And we're also doing what we love. And this is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be enjoyable. Yes, some people do it at different levels. You know what I'm saying? You might have some people working like this project or that project or at this level or that level. But at the end of the day, like, we all doing the same thing. You know what I mean? At its core, you know what I'm saying? We enjoying these animals and we doing whatever activity around these animals, you know what I'm saying, that makes us happy. And so that's really what it should be about, instead of like trying to like bring others down, like all this like just getting full of your ego, like this super clout chasing and like all that kind of negative stuff. At the end of the day, like, that adversely affects the hobby. It drives people out. It gives people like a bad taste, and then they don't want to deal with it. And so it's like, at the end of the day, is something that's detrimental to the community, and we need the community. Like, I started off the show talking about USART Florida, and one of the things I said is strength in numbers, right? We need those numbers, and so we shouldn't be doing things to like turn people away from the community. You know what I'm saying? Like, we should be trying to build it up. I'm not saying that everybody's going to get along, because that's not realistic. We're not going to hold hands and sing kumbaya and everybody's just going to be everybody's best friend. But at the end of the day, like, the negative, like that super negative energy and stuff like that, man, it's time out for that. You know what I'm saying? We all got we got like interest, we got like things that work against our interests, and so we should be focused on like getting this industry to the next level and doing what it takes to get this industry to the next level. Like, it's a lot of people in reptiles, and I've said this before, it's a lot of people in reptiles, but it's far from being mainstream. You know what I mean? And so it's so much opportunity out there. Like, let's go get that.
Yeah. You know, I've watched so many people come in and out. You know, some of them come in like gangbusters, some of them come in, you know, just casually. And I couldn't even tell you how many people I've seen that have come in and made a big click on social media, like really fast, and then they're all gone. And I think it's tough right now, because it used to be you would get somebody to kind of mentor you and, you know, at least try to help you out and lead you down the right path. That's how me and Michael become friends. And I think today everyone looks at the little cliques, the groups, and the chats, and that's where they get a lot of their source of knowledge. But the problem is, not everybody has the knowledge. They're not giving you the right information. You know, you get with somebody who's been doing it for a while and can give you other aspects. Now, don't get me wrong. There's people out there that might not have been doing it as long, but they have experiences that the most seasoned breeders don't have. I've talked about it before. I've not only given breathing treatments and injections to snakes, I've given tracheal tubes to snakes.
Oh, wow.
Most people haven't done that. I just had a guy send me pictures and said, hey, I think my snake broke its neck. And I looked at the picture of the snake, and it has a big kink in the neck. I asked him if it was hard. And so talking to a few people were like, you know what? It probably was trying to push so hard that it broke its neck, because it was a bad kink. If you saw it, I'm like, that thing is not going to be able to pass food. It's going to be on freaking fuzzies for life, whatever. And he took it to a vet, and I can't tell you exactly what it was. I'll have to look it up. Something to do with the calcium, because apparently the snake had laid eggs, wasn't making the calcium back again. They gave it some calcium shots and said it was pulling itself out, but there was no broken bones. I would have never guessed that. The people I showed the picture to and talked about, we all thought it was a broken neck. So, you know, this person that hasn't been doing it that long did the right thing. They took their animal to the vet, found out. So, I mean, there's a lot of knowledge out there, but God, just make sure you're not getting it from the wrong people.
Big facts, big facts. And going back to the theme of growing the industry, you had an interesting idea that we talked about behind the scenes before the show. So I definitely want to get into that so you can share it with everybody else. But we're going to take a real quick sponsor break, and then we'll be right back. So y'all make sure y'all stick around for that.
Known for his innovative approach to genetic shed testing and top quality ball pythons, Grey Rider Reptiles also excels in exceptional customer service and responsiveness. With a quick turnaround time, Charlie ensures you get the service you want and need. Visit shedtesting.com to explore his offerings and experience the best in the business. Don't miss out. Head to shedtesting.com today and unlock the power of your breeding projects.
Peace and love, family. We invite you into the heart of our serenity, Ancestral Royal Pythons. At Ancestral Royal Pythons, we're not just breeders, we're nurturers of love and growth. Each of our high-end ball pythons is a tribute to the grandeur of the natural world and our dedication to quality. Reach out today and bring one of our creations into your home. This is Ancestral Royal Pythons. Your journey begins here.
Here's to the exciting world of Ebony and Ivory reptiles. From unforgettable parties and events to keeping and hatching some of the dopest reptiles in the reptile hobby, we're all about education, quality, integrity, and respect. Hit us up and see how we can help make your next project a reality. Experience Ebony and Ivory Reptiles, where fascination meets fun.
Ebony and Ivory Reptiles.
Big shout out to the sponsors. Big shout out to the sponsors, man. Appreciate y'all. So, Randy, so tell us about the idea that we were talking about behind stage or backstage.
So everyone's talking about the market, where the market is. It's saturated. No one can make any money. So the problem is, I mean, obviously COVID did take its toll, because everyone got free COVID money. So people selling were happy. They were selling stuff left and right. And anytime you're in business, and this is something I've always known or noticed, is they'll talk about their highest year, and then they want to match it, and then they can't. Well, they're not looking at the fact that was a peak year. They're not looking at the average of the years behind it and see that you're doing okay. They get focused on that top year. So you got all those people that came in and they were buying because they were going to get rich. They were at home. They couldn't go to work. They had COVID money. Seemed like a thing to do. They started producing a whole bunch. So at that point, you got more production than before. Now, they all got out of it. So they're selling all their stuff cheap because they don't want to feed anymore. They don't want to take care of them. It was a loser situation for them. So the market kind of gets flooded that way. So what we have to do is figure out how to do a market correction on that. And so people have their single gene or their 2 gene females. They have their male breeders that are coupled genes. And so they're whoring those out, selling them cheap to other people who are starting out, and they're going to keep breeding them. And so where this problem lies is you're going to keep having numbers rising in production, and you're still not making any money. So what you have to do is figure out how to get that production off to the side so you can lower production back. And so one of the things is there's what's called pets in the classroom. And I've talked about this before, that you can donate a snake to a school. And if you do that, it's a tax write-off. So people that have legitimate businesses that are paying for taxes and that can donate these animals to schools. Now, what that's doing, just to give you an idea, there's almost 129,000 schools in the United States. There's 40,750 ball pythons on Morph Market right now. So if people were to get in, and I've talked to Robin at Redline, I was talking to T at ZoomEd, and trying to come up with ways to promote this. And a lot of people don't realize it. Now, there are some teachers out there, like I know Jamie from Professors is on this, Mark with 403. There's teachers out there that actively do this, and they do it on their own without the support. So Pets in the Classroom, the teachers can apply for grants, but the thing I wanted to get also was where it would not only go with ball pythons, because the crested gecko industry is going to have the exact same problem. And so this is where it ultimately comes down to us as keepers. And, we need to realize that if we just keep selling all of our retired breeders to people that are going to keep breeding them, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. So by donating them to a classroom, not only are you getting the tax write-off, you're keeping the animals from breeding and having more animals that you're competing against to sell yours. But you're actually teaching children that, all these reptiles are not bad. They're not slimy. They're not, and these are your potential customers. So if you think about this, at 129,000 schools across the United States, if one school, every school got one snake and got one kid into getting into the reptiles, that right there is 3 times the amount of reptiles on Morph Market. So you would definitely be able to bring that back up, and people could start breeding again, not having to worry about, because the other problem is the health of these animals. When you get so many animals that you can't take care of them, they're not getting fed. And there's a difference. Now, that's another thing about what the hobby right now is. People are talking about, this person's snakes are skinny, they don't feed them, something like that, because they're getting a snake that's 6 months old and it's 300 grams. It's not 800 grams. No, it's because this person's feeding it like it would in nature. Like, you don't have to be pounding them with that. Well, a lot of people aren't feeding them hardly anything or smaller meals because now they have animals they can't get, they can't sell.
Right.
Another thing people can do, if you take your animals down to local pet stores. So let's just say you have a local pet store.
Before we go to the local pet store, can we start real quick and talk a little bit more about the pets in the classroom idea? And sorry to interrupt you, but I actually really like that idea. And like from a supply demand, like you hitting it on both ends, right? So in terms of like supply, if you're taking like some of these breeders out of the rotation and less of the animals are getting bred because they are going to like these various classrooms, then you're controlling it from the supply side, and then on the demand side, by getting more and more young people, like folks who got years and years and years of keeping ahead of them, like you touching on it from a demand side, both in the short term and then also in the long term, right? Because again, like these young kids, obviously they're going to be around for a while. And so I really like that idea. So before we get too far away from it, so talk about what's all involved with the pets in the classroom program. Like, how does someone get like linked up with it? Like, is it like a application? Like, what all do you have to do? Are you up to speed on that? You up on game?
You can just Google pets in the classroom. And so from that, you can go there and you can, there's a link you can click that says donate. So if you want to donate, you can do it that way. So for a lot of people, you can just reach out to your local school districts. A lot of school districts aren't going to know. So this is where, you know, the best thing I would tell people, and like I told you before, you know, best thing is for everyone watching this to go share it and get 10 people to watch it to hear this, and have those 10 people share it to get 10, because this is all fine and dandy if me and you were talking about it and there's 50 people, let's say, in the chat. There she goes. She's got it right there.
My baby.
But the thing is, if this is something that people want to make happen, we have to make it happen. You can sit there and you can share things that are completely trivial. But when it comes, this is no different than USARK a few years back when everyone pushed so hard, and now USARK is like a common daily thing for everybody. You know, this is something people need to stop and look at and think about it and be like, hey, you know what? I can give a couple animals. I can do that. I actually, the last show, I gave 5 snakes away, and one was to a teacher. I had a second one that she called the teacher, but she didn't have an enclosure ready, or she would have taken the second one.
That's one of the questions I had too. I'm gonna look into it. I'm gonna look at the link. But does like the pets in the classroom like program provide like enclosures and stuff like that? Because I would imagine that most teachers going to find themselves, and then also is it like education and stuff around it, like around different species, so they kind of know how to take care of it, they know about husbandry, they know like all that good stuff. I mean, we can always point them to Clutch Conversations, but we definitely got to point them somewhere else as well. So
if you go to the pets in the classroom, that's open blanket for pets. I mean, obviously not venomous, you know, but you know, they give grants to teachers. They apply for a grant, get a grant for the setup or anything like, you know, that they would need. I was talking to ZoomEd, I was talking to Robin at Redline, trying to get it to where even, you know, if we could get ZoomEd or Zilla, any of these places to say, hey, you know what, through our program, we'll give you a voucher to where you can go to the pet store, buy it at cost. And so there'll still be some costs there for the teacher, but now you go back and ask yourself, what kind of teacher how much money do they spend on decorations for all these different things? If they want an animal, they're not going to have a problem. You can ask any teachers that you know. If they say, hey, we'll give you the animal, we'll come in. For a lot of these guys, if you go local to your school, you can go in and meet everyone. You can talk to the class. The kids can, you know, interview you basically. You'll give them everything, which is going to in turn sell animals for you. Because if I go to your classroom and I spend an hour, and I show them stuff, bring all these other different animals in, kids are going to remember that, and they're going to come back to you if you're right there local. Through the pets in the classroom, you could donate, but depending, I don't know, it could go probably anywhere.
Gotcha. So Elias said that if they get approved for the grant, then they get a voucher for the enclosures, heat, supplies, etc., etc. And the teacher has to be educated on the right product to buy. And right now, I guess the vouchers are for like the chain pet stores.
Yeah, so that's why the Pets in the Classroom is got sponsors by like Zilla, ZoomEd, all those different companies. So they're getting the correct stuff. They're not just going somewhere and getting a tank and being like, here you go. Here's a heat light for your ball python. Everything's legit. It's above the table. It's really something good that as a community, this is a very quick fix, or at least first step getting us on track to rectifying the hobby from the COVID times.
Yeah, I really like that idea for a number of reasons, man. Like I say, I like the supply demand side of things and the education and exposing more and more people to reptiles. Because if anyone grew up the way I did, like reptiles just was a no, especially snakes. Like snakes had the worst rap. But I remember even like lizards too in my house. Like, and I grew up in South Georgia, so it was always like a knolls and stuff around. But I remember when I was like 8 years old and a lizard got in the house, and like my mom was like freaking out, and I had to get the lizard out the house, just like stuff like that. So it would be good to really get a lot of these young kids exposed at an early age, like even more young kids exposed at an early age.
Yeah, definitely. And these kids are, I mean, they're amazing in their own right. I mean, I love when kids come up at shows and talk to me, and when I have some available, I give free snakes away to kids. Sometimes I talk to the parents, make sure everything, tell them, hey, you go get an enclosure and that. And when you see that spark in the kid's eye, that they're so excited. I had a little girl come up to a show, and instantly she walked up and she pointed it out. She was like, that one right there, that's it. And her mom's like, are you sure you don't want to go look around? We're talking, this is a super show. There are hundreds of thousands of ball pythons. And she's like, nope, it's that one. And
what kind was it? Did you say?
It was a lesser, and I think that was maybe like a fire lesser, something like that.
Okay.
So whatever I had it marked at, and I had the sale price for the show, she started getting her money, and her mom was telling her, this is how much money you have. And this is like a little 8-year-old girl. And her mom gave her a little bit extra. She goes, okay, you can borrow this. And so she counted it out to me, and I gave back money to her, and she was all confused. And her mom's like, well, that was a discount. And I said, go buy you a hide with it. Go buy this. And it turned out that the little girl had high anxiety. And mom was telling me how the doctor said, ball python would be good. And I kept in touch with the family for a little while, and they were saying it worked perfect. Like that she understood she had to calm herself because the snake fed off of her emotions. And so she would legitimately go stop, calm her breathing, calm herself, go get the snake. And then while she was holding it, it kept her mellow. And I mean, that's cool. I mean, yeah, granted, it's nice to have people come up and want to throw a bunch of money and buy the newest gene or anything, but I don't know. I mean, that show, that was my highlight. I always have a highlight and a low light of every show. It's usually low light. We joke about it, like the dumb questions. I swear to God, I had a guy come tell me that his snake that he got at a previous show wasn't eating. And it turned out he was trying to feed it a frozen rat. He didn't know he had to thaw it out. And I was just like, you're freaking joking me, right? So, but yeah, so there's always the dumbest question of a show and the highlight. And she was the highlight. I mean, what we can do for kids and help our market out at the same time.
Right. It's a win-win.
Do this, yeah.
That's dope too, man, because that little girl is never going to forget that, and she's going to tell other people. And so like that's one of those experiences you have that just stays with you forever and ever and ever. Like that's real dope, man. So kudos to you, man. Big shout out for doing that for her. So you want to talk about shipping?
Oh yeah, well we had talked about that, and so the reason, like you asked what I was doing with shipping, I understand. There's very cheap rates out there right now for a limited time. I'm not going to use them. Not, obviously I've got my little Redline banner, but I have that because if I don't, my incubator, I notice it will show my TV on it. I go with Robin because I've known Robin for many, many years. And going back to the Pro Exotics days. And so when he came back, I remember talking to him because I was actually with Debbie. And he told me straight out, he goes, I'm not going to try to get you from Debbie. I love Debbie. He wasn't trying to poach anyone. He was just back into the community. Me and him, we go way back because we're both old chubby white dudes that used to and so I went back to him. I always liked him. And so the big thing to me with shipping is the customer service. And you can go chase down the cheapest rate anywhere. You can go get the cheapest food. You can go get the cheapest anything. You go buy the cheapest snake and it's not going to be the same quality. Big thing to me is when I get notified there was an issue with the shipment by them before the customer. And I've had other shipping companies that I've called them up and they're like, oh, let me check into that. I'll call you right back. I never heard back from them ever. And that's pretty much why I'm going to stay. That is the customer service. I'm not paying the cheap rate for the shipping. When I do real large things, I ship freight anyways. I don't use them because I go a different method. But for all my snakes that I'm gonna send, yeah, I'll stay with them. This is the customer service. You can't. Walmart doesn't provide the customer service of a mom and pop shop. So it's yeah. To me, I'm gonna stay there.
Yeah, I'm definitely sticking with Redline. I've been getting to know Robin like very well over the past several months, and it's been a great experience for a number of reasons, right? Like, so he's shared so much knowledge with me and like really kind of like explain like a lot of things in terms of like the history of the reptile industry and kind of like the who's who. Like, it was a lot of stuff that I didn't even know, and I learned like something every time I talk with him. Redline customer service, obviously like second to none as well. And I know like the cheaper rates, that for a limited time only, like, yeah, it might be the cheapest on the block, even like after that limited time only. But just for me, I'm big on relationships. I'm big on customer service. I just feel like Redline brings so much to the table, and it's not a Redline commercial. I'm just telling you like how I feel, like from my heart. I feel like they bring so much to the table for the long term of the game. You know what I mean? And it's not just like some kind of like fly by night type deal, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, the thing that people have to realize is it's different. You're paying for the same shipping, either place you go. But, like Redline has it, every single package I've shipped, there's that button right there, give $1 to US Arc. All the things they do. So when Jeremy bowed, when they had the auction, I donated 9 snakes to that auction, and he covered all of it. And that's who he is as a person. And and that's the customer service. I mean, I'm not going to go tell anyone how to spend their money or how to live their life. I'm not here to judge anyone.
Yeah, same. Like,
I'm just here. I know you support people that are going to treat you the way you want to be treated. And
Exactly.
it's, if you want to push one for English and get transferred to India, then, you know, that's the kind of what you need. You know, me, myself, I'm like you. I like building relationships. I mean, you know, just from the time we talked, and, you know, there's other people on here like Will. I love Will. He's a great guy.
Well, cool, man.
Yeah, and that's what I'm about. I'm about building relationships. So, yeah, that's why I'm gonna stay.
True. He said those phone calls are my favorite. I guess you talk about pressing one.
Yeah. So, you know, another thing I want to touch base on, and we touched a little bit, but, you know, things we do as a community that we're shooting ourselves in the foot, besides, you know, like I said, overproduction. And another thing is people that are, if you're producing so much that you're selling everything at 50% off and posting everything at 50% off at shows, signs, things like that, produce half as much and keep your prices up. It's one tip. But, you know, another thing is genetic testing. That is such a godsend. I mean, back in the day, the people that got screwed, you know, like we said, like Top Shelf, if there was genetic testing, they would have been ran out years before they did. And
yeah, Chris mentioned earlier that he bought some fake hits from Top Shelf.
Yeah, and it sucks. And there's nothing you can do about it. But I think one thing right now that I see is, as a community, we're kind of almost having the different genetic testing butting heads with each other, where we should try to be promoting them working more together. Like, I know when RGI was getting the DG out and everyone was rushing them out, and then they said, well, hey, we've got something else here that it's really crazy. We don't know what it is. There's a third marker. Everyone just pushed and pushed and pushed to get it out. And then they did. And then they found out that A, B, and C, and then everybody slammed them. And then, you know, Charlie's another big one in there. And I see people wanting to go to one or the other and slamming the opposite. And I'm friends with both. I mean, I gave 100 puzzle sheds to RGI to help get the puzzle test going. I see Charlie. I talked to Charlie. I would go to either one of them. I think that as a community, we got to quit forcing them to get stuff out early. You buy a het or a possible het, you got to wait 3 years for it to prove out. So waiting an extra 2 months to get a test is nothing. And if we just learn to be a little bit more patient,
right,
and them working together, they will actually get more results faster, and it'll be better for us. I mean, this is a time, go back 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and tell people, hey, you could breed something like a recessive het to a different recessive, different het, and test the babies for quad hets. That would have taken 10 freaking years to do, getting them and waiting to find out if each one was het for something. This is a time where we can really decide projects we want to work. It's going to cost us way less, and that we need to really quit trying to pin these people against each other, and as a community kind of harbor that relationship.
Right.
They all worked, because you can go to whoever you want, but the thing is if we get them to work together and they come up with 10 new tests, get them from whichever one you want. They both will have them. Go with who you like, but get that collaboration.
100%. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And obviously, like, I'm close with Charlie, and Charlie is also the sponsor, but that don't mean that I got a problem with RGI. Like, I've talked to both folks from RGI, and they're both like super cool. At some point, we probably have somebody from RGI on the show. I don't think it has to be like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and I don't know, like, if there is something out there, I'm not aware of it. You know what I mean? As far as like kind of like button heads or whatever. I'm not aware of any of that, but I would imagine that just like with anything else, a lot of time the people feed into that kind of stuff, and they kind of create stuff where it's not necessarily that. You know what I mean? Like, one person hears something and then they go back and tell 2 people, then those 2 people go back and tell 5 people and what have you. You know what I mean? And then it kind of like become a thing. You know what I'm saying? So there's probably a little bit of that out there as well.
Well, that's what I meant. Not so much between the people themselves. You know, they're scientists. They know DNA, so I'm sure they're going to have their own little opinions on different little nuances. Like, I can tell you if you take 2 crayons and mix them together, what color it will make. So, you know, I'm not going to get off on that level. But no, it's just the hate from people. The people that you see that want to support one side or the other side, and so they're the ones creating like the hostility against the opposite. And
why do you think people like flock towards drama and stuff like that?
It's society today. I mean, the reality of it is there's nothing you can literally go out and say that's not going to get critiqued by somebody and they're going to get upset by it.
Right.
You know, I've had this problem in the past. Like, I support everyone living their life, whether if you're whatever ethnicity, whatever religion you are, straight, gay, trans, whatever. I've got friends that are every single one of those.
Same here.
But if you try to support, I know I got into it a while back. I had posted something about women's sports, trans and women's sports, and I got blasted. And I said, look, you know what? What I'm promoting is equality for women, not bashing somebody else. And you know, and I think that's just it. We all get caught up in ourselves. I kind of really now I'm getting to that age where I went from old to like I'm getting to really fucking old, and so I think about things more now. Like, I just the other day I saw a picture of a dog. I'm like, God, that dog's ugly, and I'm like, God, you know what? But it's not. Some people love it, and so I'm constantly critiquing myself. I hate sometimes I go to a show and like, hey, how'd you do? I'm like, well, wait a minute. Is that kind of like, I know it's just a generic question, how'd you do? But in a way, you're like comparing how they did to how you did. And it shouldn't be that shouldn't be a question. We all just go out, have fun. Even if I don't make any money at a show, if I'm with my friends and having fun, that was worth it. And so I think that's just it. I think people need to start critiquing themselves a little more and step back.
Elias gave you a shout out. So y'all might not agree on everything, but salute to you for being willing to have a real conversation. A lot of folks run from the tough conversations.
Okay, see, I don't call names out because it's just like there's no need. But I mean, since Elias said that, you know, I had a really good conversation because, you know, like I said, I feel bad. Part of our conversation was I work with a engineer who is trans, and I admire the hell out of her. She's so smart. Whenever there's an issue, I want to go to her because I know she knows her shit, and she's really cool. And it kind of pisses me off because there are some guys that will still say him or they'll say it. And that's why I said that stuff we need. we need to get rid of that. But like I said, at the same time, like, what we talked about is, hey, there's nothing wrong with having in sports, trans women's, men, trans men. And we all can coexist. We just, anytime, like I said, my little sister's Black. My parents were foster children. They sent her home to die. She's handicapped. And we adopted her because we don't see color. We just, I look at everyone as you're cool or you're an asshole. And until we get to that mindset where we quit trying to push somebody else aside for how we feel and learn to truly coexist, there's going to be issues. And will that day ever come? I doubt it, but God, I wish it would. But we need to keep that out of this community, though. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard. But, if we can start solving this problem, starting with the pets in the classroom, and like I said, stop feeding into what you hear. I always tell people, there was a girl, Heather's Herps, and my one friend said something about her, and I just kind of held it against her. And then a couple of years later, she was leaving California, going to the East Coast, and I sat and talked to her, and I realized, I'm like, wait a minute, my friend's a fucking idiot. I know he's one of the stupidest people I know. Why'd I listen to him? This amazing person I never got to know. And that's just it. Is, if you guys hear of stuff that is like documented, like people really doing something wrong, okay. But if not, you don't know what's in that person's head, what's in their mind. If it really happened, it didn't happen. Cut some people some slack. And if anything, find out, ask the person. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I was just about to say, man, a lot of stuff can be solved and a lot of like headaches saved and whatnot just by like simply conversing with somebody and having a conversation. Like I said earlier, man, it's unrealistic to think that everybody is going to agree on everything. In fact, I don't want to live in a world where everybody agrees on everything, because that don't make sense. We all individuals. We all got our own unique backgrounds. We all bring different things to the table, and is power in like that kind of like diverse background. You know what I mean? But when there are disagreements or when there are misunderstandings, like the power of communication is so strong, as long as both people are willing to listen, right? So you got to listen, not just want to speak, but you also have to listen, right? Because if you listen, oftentimes, like, you'll hear something, you'll learn something about the situation that you really didn't know, or you really weren't clear on, or you misunderstood something. And that could lead to you changing your take on something, changing your stance and whatnot. And then you might not agree on everything at the end of the conversation, but at least you've had the opportunity to talk something out and see where the other person's coming from. So to me, communication is so powerful. Like it's a powerful tool, and I feel like we need to use it more.
Yeah, every person has something that they can teach you, and the point is really trying to figure out what that is you can learn. If you really want to be an intelligent person, you're going to want to keep learning, and you're going to keep growing. I mean, I just this last week at work, I had a run-in with a guy, and the last time I had a run-in with him, I started to say something, and he cut me off, and I looked at him, and I snapped. I said, "Do you ever just shut the fuck up and let somebody the fucking sentence?" And he started to say something. I go, "Get the fuck away from me." And of course, he was like, "You want to go to HR?" I'm like, "Let's go." Well, this time I said something to him, and he instantly started going again. And I looked at him, and his name's Jacob. I said, "Jacob, I'm talking to you calmly. Why are you getting angry?" And when the whole thing was done, oh my God, I felt so empowered. My boss was laughing at me. He's like, "You're growing." I'm like, "I know. Unfortunately, the biggest thing growing is my belly, but hey, at least my mind's growing a little bit."
That's funny as hell, man. Hey, man, it's been a good conversation, a great conversation. Like a lot of gems dropped, a lot of good information shared, man. I really appreciate you coming through, man. And I really appreciate everybody coming through tonight, sticking it out with us, man. Definitely looking forward to having you on the show again, because you got a lot of information, a lot of history, and I really enjoy talking to you, man. So I definitely appreciate you coming on tonight.
Oh, likewise, man. Thank you so much for having me. We always have a great conversation. You know, one last thing I want to leave people with is the auctions. So everything has its place, but if you guys really want to correct where the hobby is and where it's going, lower end animals belong on auctions. If I see a lot of people putting high end animals up there, they're not getting any of the bids. They're selling cheap, and people are now thinking that's where it should be, and they're waiting for auctions. So
Right, 100%.
you know, be responsible enough. If you can hold back, if you have, my hatchling racks hold 75. If I could say, hey, you know what, 40 of these are high-end animals, they are going to stay on my rack until I sell them. These down below, hey, I'll wholesale them, I'll put them on auction, something. But if you can't hold on to half of your hatchlings, you're probably breeding a little too much.
100%, man. 100%. It can get rough out there in the auction streets. So definitely high-end animals do not belong on the auctions.
Yep.
But yeah, man, like I say, great episode. Really appreciate it. Appreciate everybody coming through tonight. Appreciate everybody coming through in the replay gang. Make sure you hit that like button. Drop a comment, just like a little simple hashtag replay gang. Just let us know you was here, man. It really helps YouTube, the algorithm. It really feeds the algorithm, and it helps us out, man. It's free. We bringing shows to you all throughout the week, trying to bring the best shows possible to you, best we can do. So definitely show some love, man. Drop that comment, man. Super helpful. Appreciate everybody tonight. But that's it for tonight. So for Clutch Conversations, I'm Mike. The lovely lady behind the scenes is Dakar. Thank y'all for coming out. Be blessed. Peace. Hey, can you hang back for a few minutes, bro?
You got it, man.
All right. Peace.